So you've probably seen the white outline effect on the YouTube creators' thumbnails, and that just looks so cool and it's so trendy, but it is also super effective because it adds the contrast to your thumbnail and it really makes you pop out from the background. So let me show you how to achieve that white outline effect in Photoshop in 2 different ways. Plus, we're gonna do it in a way that turns the person into like a cutout or a sticker, so you can put them on any background whatsoever. Let's jump into the computer and get started. If your thumbnails are good, people will see them on their suggested or search, and they will click on it and watch your video. And that increases your CTR, your click-through rate, which is one of the few major things that have an influence on whether YouTube algorithm promotes and suggests your content or not. So if you want to learn more about SEO and YouTube algorithm, check out this video. And adding a white outline can definitely help you stand out, so let's go do that. Okay, let's start off by creating a new file, and it is going to be 1920 by 1080, and I keep the resolution at 72 dpi. And I'm just going to quickly get rid of the extras. I don't want the rulers to show up here. I have just taken 2 photographs that I'm going to be using for these 2 ways, so I will upload them. And I'll stretch it out to fill the background. So I will start off with a tool that takes a little bit more time, but it is also more precise if you do decide to spend more time on it, and that's the pen tool. But before we do anything with this photo, I am a freak when it comes to extra caution, so I will duplicate this photograph and then I will rasterize this layer. So after this layer has been rasterized, I am going to select the pen tool right here. And now we will just go ahead and click around to select the shape. So this is a pretty manual process. If you click, hold, and drag, you can actually make it, instead of a straight line that doesn't really fit in with this thumbnail, we can hold and drag to make the shape that we want. And all we need to do now is connect the last and the first point, like so. Now, a few of the areas weren't perfect, so there's one more tool that can help us fix it, and that's the convert point tool. For example, here where the finger is, we can click on the point and then adjust it, or here. Now we need to turn this into a selection. So with the pen tool, by hitting P, we can right click and choose make selection. You can adjust the feather, and that's how blurry the edges will be, but I'm just gonna keep it at 0 for now and hit OK. Now instead of these dots, we have this selection. Now hit V for move tool, and then we can click Command C and then Command Shift V. Now notice what happened here in the layers section. If I turn off this photograph, we just have the cutout. Of course, it's not perfect. We have some black lines here and things like that. We can now go ahead and erase it if we wanted to, or we can keep it like this. I'm gonna go ahead and erase it. I'm just gonna use a regular eraser tool. So now that we have this layer separate, you can just double click on the thumbnail of the layer and you will have a few new options pop up. And if you don't see some options, you can click here on the FX and show all effects. Now from all of these, you can play around and create the exact outline or glow effect or whatever it is that you're looking for. So we can try using drop shadow. If I select it, it starts dropping shadow somewhere here. That's pretty random. But if we just select an angle, size, that's more like a spread, right? Let's select white color because that's what we're talking here. we're talking about white outlines, you can use drop shadow as a white glow, or you can maximize the spread so it's not glowy anymore. You can change the angle of where you want it to appear. And that's just one way to do it. Hit OK. Now we have it. In case you don't want to see it, you can just turn it off. And you have yourself a cutout with a white outline that's messy and crazy, but it's kind of pretty cool at the same time. If you don't want to play around with the pen tool like I did, you can actually make your own style of selection. So we can go ahead and select again, but this time we can use really sharp edges and it will still turn out pretty cool. And now this is a very rough selection, but it can still work, I think, because, you know, it's like this cutout style and you can still make it work. So that's one of the ways to do it. Another way is a faster way, and I actually use that way most of the time. Just for the fun of it, let's select a different photo. And now we're going to use the object selection tool. It is magical. Let's select our object. You don't have to try your best. We can always edit it later. But here I am. I selected it and it kind of selected me. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. So here we are missing a bit of a finger. So at the top right here, this is when you're creating a new selection, you're adding to selection and you're taking away from selection. So let's add the finger to selection by just going around it. And the nail. Then we have some hair missing. And it kind of caught a little bit of my David statue right there. So we need to get rid of that by choosing the other one. And now that is good. Now we can Command C, Command V to paste it. And so I want to show you one more. So let's go to select and reselect. If you by mistake deselected something, you can reselect your previous selection. Now we're going to use that same tool. Then we will right click, hit feather, and I like to go with 2 pixels to soften it a little bit. Now again, V for move tool, Command C, Command Shift V to paste it. And this one is feathered. Let me show you the actual difference. So as you can see, it's not a perfect selection and it is feathered here. And this one is sharp. And again, not very perfect selection either. So we can clean it up further, even using the same selection tool. And then just hitting delete. Or we can use an eraser tool again. And then for the one that we did feathered, we can also use an eraser, but I will choose a soft eraser. At the end of the day, it does not have to be perfect. YouTube thumbnails are pretty small, but we do have to try our best anyway. So now we can do a similar thing. We're gonna double click on the thumbnail of the layer. And this time, I don't want to do drop shadow, even though we could, but let's do something else instead. Let's do stroke. And as you can see, stroke is kind of like, that's the whole point of the stroke. You can adjust the size of it. It caught some details here that wasn't necessary, but we can get rid of that. And now we have this beautiful contour. So now with the eraser, as I'm erasing the unnecessary things from the photograph, it will erase the contour by itself. There you go, that's much better. Now, if we wanted to copy an effect, we can right click, copy layer style, and then choose the layer where you want to paste it, and then right click, paste layer style, and now it has been pasted. So here's this one that we got. I'm going to copy it and move it up because I want to try a different effect. So on the white background, you can clearly see that this one is more jiggly in a way and not as sharp. Now the cool thing is that we can literally add any background we want whatsoever by selecting a color and then hitting G, and now we have the two cutouts. So another option for the outline would be outer glow. And if you choose just normal, it's not going to overlay. So here we have noise, but we don't need noise. And then this is the spread and the size. But if we choose the spread to be 100, that again turns into an outline that we can adjust. So if I wanted to have the glow and the outline, I'd probably do this and then the stroke. And this would give us a totally different result. What I also like doing is selecting the photograph, then going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then I like blurring it slightly. So it gives me more chance to stand out, as well as going to image adjustments, brightness and contrast, and then lowering the brightness here. So that makes me really pop from the background, and I just love what it looks like, so I like to keep it. By the way, adding the outlines to the person is not the only way to do it. You can also add it to your text. So let's say I want to keep this color of the text, but it doesn't pop, so I want to add the outline. What I like to doing is duplicating the text, because what if I do want to change it, and then I rasterize type, double click, stroke, outer glow, okay, and here we have an outline on your text. And this is how you create white outline on your photos in 2 different ways. So if this was helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content geared towards YouTube creators just like yourself. And before you run off creating your amazing white outline, don't forget to watch this video next.